because then they start falling asleep on you, or they find someplace else to go, either emotionally, or they ask to go to the restroom for 45 minutes, or welcome back to the Angry Teacher channel. This is Richard Williams, the Angry Teacher. If it's your first time here, thanks for coming by. You know I love my teachers when they start looking at the videos and they start growing, and I've had a lot of success stories from the videos. I appreciate that. Come on, keep watching. For those of you who've been here before and those of you who are new, thanks for coming to the family, all of you. Let's just have the conversation going. Let's just build this teacher community. Teachers are dropping like flies now because of the pandemic, and we just don't want to deal with this stress anymore. So however we can help each other, this is how we get there. All right. Oh, I thought my book was upside down. That would be ironic. In any case, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, because you need to know when the next dope video is coming out. I need a lot more lifestyle videos. One of my kids like, "Pops, when are you gonna go out in the car and drive around and do stuff?" I'm like, dude, I don't remember half the time. I was supposed to make a whole video the last time about stuff we were doing in the building, and I forgot. You know, my memory's going. I mean, seriously. But in any case, we'll get to those. But I just thought about, and I haven't done a video in a while because so much stuff has been happening. And now I thought there's something that I read an article, and it had 10 instructional strategies that, you know, are powerful and they work. To some extent, I didn't agree with some of them, so I left them out. So I'm gonna give you about 6. And do I completely agree with half of these? But I use some of these, and you know, let's just get into the video and you will see. Whichever ones you like, let me know down in the comments below. Use them, don't use them, but let's just have a conversation about them, and we'll see where it goes. Okay. Number 1, activating strategy. Now everybody does this. We front load, or prior knowledge, basically. We're linking something that we're starting the class with to the content that the kids will be working on later in the period, later in the class. And so you can show them a video, you can have them listen to music, or listen to a part of a speech, or throw a mathematical equation on the board, and then have them look at it and kind of digest it and see where you know, if they can figure out any parts of it before we move on. And so that's what activating strategy is. You're trying to link what they know or to what they're going to be working on throughout the day, and then a good activity afterwards would be the wrap up, and we'll talk about that later. In any case, or give them thought-provoking questions, something that, you know what, like, do you think man has 2 sides to his personality? And then have them think and kind of discuss it for a little bit, and then so they know that while they're reading, this is what we're going to be talking about throughout the lesson. Nothing groundbreaking here. I'm sure everybody has done their version of it or has done it before. Number 2, limited lecture. Now, some of us as teachers, especially in language arts, we talk a lot. That's just the nature of our job or content area. I had to talk to some of my kids. They were in their feelings because their government teacher talks too much, or you know, there's another class that they said the teacher talks too much. But that's their job. I have to give you information. Yeah, I ain't reading it, but in any case. So, you know, I tell them that, but for it to be impactful, we have to talk less. And sometimes we get over, you know, we want to give definitions, and we do this and do this and do this and do this. But we have to talk less. So between maybe 15 to 20 minutes of information, then you give them something to do. Maybe have them talk, or stretch break, or okay, read your notes to your partner, something that has them using the information, thinking about the information, or they're done with what you're giving them. So now they can actually get into the activity and the lesson. Then you can jump back into it if you need it, if it's a very long content or lesson, or you're done. 20 minutes, the max, and then you have them move on to the next activity, and they're working by themselves in their groups, they're moving around, they're doing stuff. That's on them at this point. You've done the front loading, you've done the information giving, here's how you do XYZ, now I need you to do on your own. Okay? No more than 15 to 20 minutes, depending on what you have to give them. Now sometimes, and this is one of those that I'm kind of on the fence with, sometimes you're just gonna have to sit down and listen to me for a while, because I have a lot to give you. Yes, you can input, teacher can insert joke here, insert life lesson, insert, but for the most part, some lessons, and especially if you're going off to college, and maybe they need to change it there, but I don't believe it's fair to expect secondary teachers to be on the level where everything is a group activity, everything you're moving around from this to that to that. At some point we have to prepare you for what college and meetings are like. You're going to be sitting in a meeting for sometimes 2-3 hours. You might have a water break, you might be able to get up and go to the restroom, and we allow you to do that here. But sometimes you're just going to have to sit down and listen to me for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, for an hour. Now, I don't talk that long, but some people do, and sometimes the information is just so much, you just have to sit there and take notes. So, but in any case, I digress. Number 3, I do this a lot, especially now, especially this year. Have student movement. Kids need to move around, either from group to group, or and you know, teachers differentiating instructions. You know, we're forced or mandated to put kids in different groups or whatever, so they are moving around kind of. But I meant more of like, you know, they have to get up and move as for part of the activity, and then they run to the other one and they do. So it's a more, not just fun, but the movement allows them to interact with each other, to get up and physically get moving so they don't fall asleep on you. And so they're interacting with the activity, with the assignment that you've given, with the information that you gave for about 20 minutes. And so now they're part of the part of the content, part of the lesson. Student movement, very important. Now, the article implied that we should do with every lesson. I ain't that guy. At some point, you're going to have to sit down and write something. It's an English class. So I'm going to need you to, not every lesson, and like I've told you in several billion videos, I'm big on novelty. If every lesson you're running around and you're differentiated, you're moving from one group to the next, one station to the next station, it becomes redundant. So there's no, oh yeah, I remember when moment, because I do this every day. So what day was that? That's what it becomes, instead of, yeah, I remember when we did this, and the excitement wanes because we do it every day. So I would say if it's a long piece, if it's a difficult piece, when they move around and they move from one place to the next, they're doing chart papers, they're doing gallery walks, they're doing different things, they learn from the experience, they remember the experience, and so they remember to learn from it. I don't do student movement every day. It just doesn't call for that. Sometimes you're gonna have to sit there and take an exam. Sometimes I'm just gonna need you to sit and talk to your partners because the lesson doesn't fit itself for you to get up and move. But you know, you can talk and hang with your friends while you discuss the lesson. I'm cool with that. But movement every day might be problematic for some of us, especially the size of the class and the prepping for the lesson. But you know, do what you need to do, but just have them, they need to know that at some point during the year or the week, we're going to be moving. 4, HOTS. Yes, you've heard this before. High order thinking, it's very important. No more low-level questions, or not a lot of them. Yes, I have to know if you know what you're talking about, so I'm going to ask you what the main idea was. I need to know who's the speaker, is this the right number that I'm supposed to put into this equation? Or, you know, what does PEMDAS mean? Or, you know, some simple stuff. That has to be there. It's a given. You know who you're working with. However, at some point we need to elevate those questions. If I use PEMDAS, would that be the same as using X, you know, or whatever? Or if this is the speaker, then why does this happen? Something needs to click so the kids can move their thinking up from just the base level to the next. And this needs to be in every lesson. This I agree with. If it's not something that you ask explicitly, then it needs to be something that they are prompted to while you're walking around, while they're in their groups, while they're using their task cards. Something needs to prompt them to do hot questions. Because high order thinking, that's where we're getting them. We want them to critically think, and so we have to prompt them with those hard, deep, delving questions. Summarize. Everybody loves this one. Everybody does this one. In order, and how does that work? At the end, I could just verbally ask, okay, what did you learn today? What did you learn today? What did you learn today? We could just have them popcorn respond. Or we could have it in an exit ticket. We all do that. Or and I would recommend, if it's a lesson that spans more than one day, then you can have it as a review when you start the second day or the third day. So remember yesterday when we talked about, we read the story Romeo and Juliet? Where did we leave off? What happened? Somebody summarize that for me. Remind us where we are. And they may not think it is a big deal, but I'm listening to see if you were paying attention, one, if you understood what we were reading, two. So these are ways to summarize what the content is and see where the kids are. And sometimes you could give a quiz, like, well, not a quiz, like a quiz competition, well, a quiz too, or a quiz competition. We're on the board, okay, we're gonna review from last class, and then we do this, and we do the group A, group B, group C, or whatever, and then they have to, oh my God, I should have been paying attention. Or the next time we read, everybody's gonna be paying attention, because you know what, I'm putting these grades, the score in the grade book. The winner gets an A in the grade book, and so on and so forth. But summaries are important, and we use them. Number 6, the last instructional strategy that's very impactful and powerful for your students and your class and your classroom, because you want to set up precedent so people know, once I'm in this room, I got to kick it up a notch. Number 6, rigorous, challenging work. It's okay to be that guy who gives the difficult work or to give the challenging work. You don't want to be that teacher that always gives just the easy stuff and the kids aren't learning. There are no hot questions, and so they're not challenged, because then they start falling asleep on you, or they find someplace else to go, either emotionally, or they ask to go to the restroom for 45 minutes, or they do all these little things because you're not piquing their interest. You're not piquing their excitement about learning. And I'm not saying be a juggler. I'm saying the questions need to challenge them enough. Now, this is ironic and contradictory even, because even if we differentiate instruction, we have to kick it up a notch, and the kids who can't function on a certain level will start getting frustrated. So they don't want to do anything, or they want to reach for their phones, they want to do all this stuff because they can't handle the rigorous questions. So that's where, you know, they pair up, or you walk around, you check them on the questions, you call them up, you interact with them, because they need that extra push, because the questions might be a little bit too challenging for them. And even if you break it down and on their level, because you differentiate and they still can't handle it, then that kid is going to be frustrated. So you got to work with what you have in front of you. You have to know what does rigor look like, and what do the challenging questions look like, and what assignments can I kind of bend a little bit or break even so that my kid can learn. Yeah, I'm gonna end it there because I could go on about this. In any case, I love you guys. Check out the next video. Love you guys. Let's just go out there and be great. Hey, let's just go out there and teach.